Hello, my name is Ivana Uade, and I'm the creator of the Facebook group page, AK Lifestyle and Travel. Today, we're meeting with Tanya Stingley. She's a psychic. She is the real deal. She's authentic. She's gifted. And she was nice enough to come on and talk to us today. Hi, Tanya. How are you?
I am doing good, Yvonne. How are you?
I'm doing great. And thank you so much for coming on today.
You're so welcome.
What I wanted to ask you is, at what age did you know that you were a psychic?
Well, let's put it this way. When I was a child, I knew I had something that I wasn't supposed to have when I was 10 years old. I can't say at 10 I knew what a psychic was, but I knew that I knew things and I knew I was different. And because I was in a very, very religious household, I was already under the impression that my gift was not a gift. So I was 10 when I knew that I had something. I was probably in my teenage years when I knew what being a psychic was. But I don't think I would have called myself a psychic then. I probably would have said I had a really good intuition at that point.
No.
So it was, I knew things. It kept me out of trouble when I listened to it. So I have been guided. I have been protected my whole life because I've gone through a lot of things that I probably, that a lot of people may not have come out of intact. But I believe that everything that I went through was so that I could be a help to other people who are going through that. It's a painful thing at times, but the good that it brings outweighs that.
Did your family know that you were psychic? Did they have a feeling that you were aware of things that you probably had no way of consciously knowing it?
I'm gonna say probably not, but my grandfather and my grandfather, when he told his story, he's passed away. He was born with a call. In the African community, if you're born with part of the placenta still attached to your body, the way that it is pulled off is a gift that you are given. If it's pulled backwards, you can see what happened in the past. If it's pulled forward, you can see into the future. He was born with the call, and I believe he could see into the past. And he let us know that, but he never went into any detail about it. He just let us know. But my grandfather is one of my spirit guides. He has come to me, materialized, if I can say that. His spirit has materialized. He talks to me, I feel him, and he guides me. So I know that part of my gift is inherited from him. And the other part is inherited from my father, because he is also a psychic, as well as about 4 of my siblings.
He never discussed that with you?
No, this was, hold on, because my father, I only found him in 2018 I did a 23andMe. Something guided me to do the DNA test for no reason. I've always, I questioned my mother when I was a child if my father was my father. She always was emphatic that who she said was my father was my father. And she took that to her grave. I did a 23andMe for no reason in 2018. And I got a hit from a young man that's younger than my youngest child. And he came back with something saying that he was my first cousin. Well, I know all my aunts. I know ain't none of them had no baby after I had my last child. So it's like, no. And this was psychically done. I want to tell you that. And I will put this on everything I believe in. I was told he was not my cousin. He was my nephew. I got in touch with this poor boy, and he wound up giving me his father, my brother's information. I called him just off the top. My brother answered the phone, welcomed me with open arms. I'm gonna tell you, things are divinely made. Nothing is by chance. He gave me my father's phone number that very day. He had known me from Adam. My father, I called him and left a message, and within 2 hours, he called me back. He accepted me on that day. He was not on 23andMe, mind you. His DNA was on Ancestry.com. So the only link I had to him was through my nephew. Now, let me tell you, I have a sister that is in the same situation as me. She was one of those babies that he made some babies before he went to Vietnam. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
So she also found him through genetics test, but she was kind of not a nice person to me. So I was kind of forced to do the Ancestry.com to basically prove,
okay,
not to my father, but to my sister.
Okay, how did you find out that he was a psychic?
He told me.
Okay, did you test him? Did you test him, give him something to see if he could?
I will tell you, like I said, 4 of my siblings through my father are also either intuitive or have some type of a psychic ability. Yes. So, I mean, it is strong on that side of the family. So when we all started talking to each other, you, like me and you talked, and you said we feel like old college friends. My dad was my dad the second I talked to him. That's how strong the connection was and still is.
You know, what I wanted to ask you, growing up, when you have this knowing, did it affect the kind of relationships that you had in the past?
Yes, yes, definitely.
In what way?
Like I said, okay, I let your viewers know, number one, I'm an empath. And that means I can feel other people's emotions like they are my own. If something is hurting you, because you and I have some type of a connection that when your heart hurt, I felt it. So in relationships, I mean, in my first marriage, unfortunately, I was married. My first husband was a narcissist. He was an abusive man. Again, something that I needed to go through to learn from. It was terrible. But I look back and say, okay, at the time I went through this, I didn't ask for it, but I was prepared for it in some kind of way. This was a transition that I needed to go through. I did not know that at that time. No, It is not until much later when I can look back and say, now I see why I went through that, because of conversations that I've had with people, situations like the one that you and I went through the other day. Similar things have happened, how to do things. I mean, there's ways that just come to me. I don't know from where. It
I was going to ask you,
tells me.
how do you get, how does it come to you? Like, say, for instance, if someone asks you a question, how do you get that information? Do you hear it? Do you see it? Do you smell it? Do you?
All of the above. All of the above. It can come in through my ear, bypass my brain, and come right out of my mouth. There is no thought. I mean, it is a fluid. It flows like water. My spirit guides touch me. And that's how I know when I am in the right energy.
Mhm.
Dangerous situations, I can smell.
Mhm.
I can smell there. If something is, if I'm in a place I shouldn't be, or if something is wrong, there will be a nasty odor. I mean, it's just something that makes, something that makes you like, oh, that's nasty. And I mean, it is. It's something that literally takes me aback.
Mhm.
And that's my warning that something is not right.
Mhm.
On the other side of the coin, when things are really good,
Mhm.
or if there is a familiar spirit around me, like my grandfather,
Mhm.
Old Spice cologne is all I will be able to smell. And I know it's him. I mean, my guides are individual, and I can tell them either by the way they touch me, or how they smell,
Mhm.
or how they make me feel.
Mhm.
And I have several, and they are people who have passed over,
Mhm.
who I was connected to. And I mean, we're connected through all of time.
Okay. I was going to ask you to, I did wonder how you receive your messages, but I wonder, have you ever been frightened either by the way that you're getting these messages or by the message that is told to you, the information
Oh,
you receive?
yes, yes, yes. Um, when you see spirits, when you can see spirits, and I can
Mhm.
see, and it's just something passing out of the corner of my eye. And like I told you, then I can feel something, I get chills, I smell something, or something touches me. I mean, because there are unfamiliar spirits that, I mean, they're everywhere. So I mean, you get brushed against a lot when you're receptive. So yes, that I have been frightened. I have been very frightened. The first time I was frightened was when I was 10 years old.
Mhm.
And that's when I was first opened up to all of sort of some paranormal things.
Mhm.
And it scared me.
Mhm.
And because of how I was being raised up in the church, I kind of consciously, unconsciously bound myself.
Mhm.
I think I was protecting myself
Mhm.
from what they would do to me unconsciously,
Mhm.
but it was out of fear,
Mhm.
because what I read and should not have been able to comprehend, I
Mhm.
did,
Mhm.
if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. because sometimes you are kind of torn into, it can be conflicting because you have this natural ability that you were born with, you didn't ask for it, but it's there. And then maybe being involved in the church, it tells you you're not supposed to be using that, but that is a part of you, just as natural as having brown eyes.
Breathing.
So it's like, how do you reconcile the two so that they can coexist?
You don't. And that's where we live in duality. And it was not until I was literally in my senior years that I put aside the duality and accepted myself as a whole. I stopped fearing
Mhm.
what society was going to say about me. I stopped fearing what my religious doctrines had the constraints that were put on me, but it was a conscious choice that I had to make to sever myself from what other people wanted me to be and who I am. Because I think the biggest problem that everyone has is the fear of being themselves. That is, people are so afraid to show the world who I am because everybody's a little weird. Everybody's a little freaky. Everybody's a little crazy. But that's what makes us wonderful. We have been conditioned to fit in that round hole, and they will pound us until they drive us through it.
When did
And that is the tragedy.
Yes. When did you start giving readings to people?
In 2019, I started my YouTube channel in 2019. I was guided. I was literally told by my spirit guides that I was going to do a YouTube channel. I was going to read tarot. And let me tell you, I had never picked up a tarot deck a day before that.
Mhm.
I went to the psychic shop, picked up a deck of cards, came home, memorized every card, wrote down every suit deck card, what it meant, worked on it, practiced it, went live raw, no makeup, no nothing. And that's how that began. I have a connection to the tarot. And I have to say this because if people are tarot readers, they understand that, even with any type of cartology, because you don't have to use tarot cards, you can use regular
Mhm.
poker cards to read tarot.
Mhm.
The cards have an energy, but it's an energy that's from you through it. So it's cyclical,
Mhm.
but you have to maintain it. It becomes a living thing. So when I read tarot, I tell people, I trust what it says.
Mhm.
I have no reason to lie to you.
Mhm.
The tarot cards, the cards are going to do what the cards do. I'm not manipulating them. I'm just reading them. So, but I have a connection to it that I can't even explain. It was like a duck to water, like I had been doing it my entire life, even though I had just started. And I'm very comfortable with it.
Tanya, I told you this before. When we start talking, I could talk to you for hours, but because of the limited time, I just want to ask you now, before we wrap up, is there anything that you'd like to say? Is there anything that you'd like to say? Observations, anything?
I am happy that you invited me on your show. I wish you the best of success.
No, I'm not meaning that. I mean, like, say something for the environment, something about this COVID.
Okay. Oh, yes. Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
Thing number one, be prepared. We are not done with winter storms yet. That's number one. Make sure you got some candles, because it's the electricity is going to be the problem. Now, you don't need to go clean out Walmart. You just need something to keep you from sitting in the dark. A little water, okay? A couple days, not a year. All right, let's be sensitive for other people and sensible. COVID, we are going to be fighting with for a long time, simply because we have an element of society that does not follow common sense. We will get over it. It's just going to take us longer. Protect yourselves. Don't be a victim. Okay, that's what I have to say. Use what you were given. Use that thing between your ears, and you will protect yourself and protect everybody else. And love each other. Right now is all about us uplifting and supporting each other. We cannot rise as a people if we are separate. The only way that we are going to get out of this mess is when, not if, because if is going to kill us. When we come together, when we realize that we need each other. We need each other. And we are all connected.
Tanya, what is your YouTube channel name?
My YouTube channel's name is Tea Time with Tanya. TEA Time with Tanya, TANYA.
And if someone wants to contact you for a reading, what is the email they should use?
My email address is all lowercase, psychic.tanya9@gmail.com.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I will definitely be in touch with you again. I love talking to you. It's just time flies.
I know, and I talk too much.
That's all right. That's all right. I like it. So, and I'm sure others will too. So thank you and goodbye for now.
Goodbye.